Welcome to the South China Sea. A marginal sea, it is a part of the Pacific Ocean with an area of 3,500,000 square kilometers. It is surrounded by 8 different countries: China, Taiwan, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, Indonesia, Singapore, and Vietnam. It contains over 250 small islands, many of which are naturally underwater at high tide and some of which are permanently submerged. The features are grouped into two main island chains called the Spratly Islands and the Paracel Islands. Most of these islands are inhabited and have never had an indigenous population. That's the reason why most of all surrounding countries claim sovereignty over these islands. In order to understand the issue, we have to take a look at an international definition: EEZ, Exclusive Economic Zone. It is a sea zone prescribed by the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, over which a state has special rights regarding the exploration and the use of marine resources, including energy production from water and wind. It stretches from the baseline out to 200 nautical miles from its coast. The larger the EEZ of a country is, the more this country has right for economic exploitation in the area. The South China Sea, especially for Spratly and the Paracel Islands, is the site of an ongoing dispute between several neighboring nations because of EEZ of these countries are. What is the purpose of the conflict? The source of conflict in this area is competition over natural resources in the exclusive economic zone. Fishery. The South China Sea is the main source of animal protein for people living in the densely populated areas along the coast of Southeast Asia and southern China. And the need is steadily rising with the population growth. Amongst the various species, the most abundant are tuna, mackerel, anchovy, shrimp, and shellfish. The area ranks first and second for tuna and shrimp fishing zone of the world. Energy, population growth, urbanization, and industrialization in the coastal areas require an increasing consumption of energy. As we have all known, the main source of energy comes from oil, coal, gas, and biomass. According to the World Bank, the South China Sea holds proven oil reserves of at least 7 billion barrels and an estimated 900 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, which offer tremendous economic opportunities for the developing nations like Malaysia, the Philippines, Vietnam, and energy security for China's growing economy. The controls over these tiny islands can allow the country to get access to these natural resources. Furthermore, the area is one of the busiest maritime traffic in the world. Over half of the world's commercial shipping passes through the waterways of the Indo-Pacific region. Circulation in this area is reliant on the freedom of navigation in international waters because no neighboring countries have nowadays the control of the whole area. What are happening in this area? The disputes have been raised for centuries, but tensions have steadily increased in recent years. At the heart of the South China Sea dispute is the Nine-Dash Line, which has shown up on official Chinese maps since 1940s. Beijing claimed that encircled as much as 90% of the contested waters. The line runs as fast as 2,000 kilometers from Chinese mainland to within a few hundred kilometers of the Philippines, Malaysia, and Vietnam. The line, which is contested by the Philippines, Brunei, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Vietnam, served as the basic China's claim to historical rights in the region, which include the two main chain islands, the Spratly and Paracel Islands. Each country is controlling some small islands of these two groups. Different incidents have been occurred between China and neighboring countries. with the Philippines. In 2012, a tense but brutal standoff between China and the Philippines over the Scarborough Shoal led to China gaining control over the features. In order to protect their territory, and after the publication of Nine-Dash Line in 2013, the Philippines decided to get involved in an international arbitration against China. They claim the Nine-Dash Line is invalid because it violates the international agreements about the exclusive economic zone and territorial seas. China refused to participate in the arbitration and preferred bilateral negotiations to resolve border disputes. In 2016, the International Tribunal ruled favor of the Philippines and clarified that China has no enough historical proof for the legibility of the Nice Deadline map. China rejected the tribunal decision and decided to ignore the rule, and according to them, this dispute is not a subject for an arbitration but a negotiation bilateral between two countries. Besides the Philippines, Vietnam is also a strong opponent of China's expansion and the Nine-Dash Line. The two countries share a complicated history for the South China Sea. In 1988, 70 Vietnamese sailors were killed in a naval battle with China. In May 2014, tensions between Vietnam and China rose again when China began drilling operations with an oil rig owned by China National Offshore Oil Corporation. These were protested by the Vietnamese government, and a fleet of Coast Guard and maritime vessels was sent to intercept the rig and its supporting vessels. A standoff occurred with several collisions between Vietnamese and Chinese vessels, one of which resulted in the sinking of a Vietnamese fishing boat. Under the international protestation, China finally removed the oil rig after 1 month, but the situation is still intense. Recently, in March 2017, the Chinese Ministry of Agriculture announced a ban on fishing in several regions of South China Sea. Between 1st May and 16 August this year, the Chinese Coast Guard will prevent Vietnamese fishermen from fishing within China territory. A lot of incidents have been already occurred even before this ban. Chinese vessels randomly attack and sink Vietnamese fishing boats, and the action has become more aggressive and brutal. Moreover, satellite images have shown that China had built artificial islands and military bases in the conflict area. What are then the solutions for the conflict? The problem needs to be resolved together. The effort has been made from both sides. In 2002, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and China agreed upon risk reduction and confidence building measures in Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea. Through this commitment, state members agreed to resolve disputes without resorting to the threat or using of force. But recently, after the decision of international arbitration, China preferred to resolve the problem bilaterally with each country. In this case, as many Asian countries are economically dependent on China, the scenario seems to be beneficial for China. China is certainly a superpower in the region, and the claimants such as the Philippines or Vietnam are smaller states. The measure that Asian nations can consider is to focusing on developing individual countries' economies and together gradually try to reduce the dependence on Chinese products or markets. Asian nations should also reduce competition amongst its members, increase internal aid programs, and exchange technology. One note for international communities, especially developed countries such as the United States, the European countries, Australia, Japan, they can also play an important role in the situation. Because of their interest for the freedom of navigation in the area, they can pressure China to commit the international laws, sponsor militarization in the region, and add aggression when necessary. Finally, agreement between these countries should be made for sharing resources and avoiding wars in the region.